Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. This is my second take recording this video. One, because my microphone was pointing the wrong way. And two, I needed to collect my thoughts a little bit more because I felt like my first take of this video was a lot. What the fuck is going on? Like, what are we doing? Yada yada. And to be fair, that's still a lot of what my reaction is to all of this news, but I wanted to rein it in because I have thoughts and I have worries. Let me put it plainly. Michael Malone and Calvin Booth have both been fired abruptly 3 games before the end of the regular season for the Denver Nuggets. We have played 79 games. We are in a half a game race for a guaranteed playoff spot. The 4 teams that all have identical records that are said half game behind us all have games that they can win next, which would then put the Nuggets from number 4 to number 8. And in the midst of all of that, the Cronkies decide to fire Calvin Booth and Michael Malone. I don't like the timing of it at all. I actually hate the timing of this for a couple of reasons. Let me lay this point out specifically. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I thought Michael Malone's job was safe beyond this summer. I didn't think that, and even Calvin Booth's job. I thought that there was going to be some sort of grand scale change coming to this team pretty damn soon. Hell, I even tweeted it this morning. The morning of April 8th, I tweeted the shit. And I started writing a script about the exact same topic. Like, cause I was literally in the middle of writing a script for a new video called "The Nuggets Are on a Collision Course to a Retool." And in the video, I talk about this dark cloud that's hanging over the Nuggets that's been there for the past couple of months, and the fact that this is all heading towards something really bad. And one of the driving factors behind me wanting to record this video, I wrote it right here. I stumbled across, or not stumbled across, but there were a couple of clips that resurfaced from Michael Malone's press conference against the Trailblazers 2 weeks ago. And in said press conference, he questioned the motivation, essentially, the drive of this Denver Nuggets team publicly into the microphone.
I didn't think we played with any pride tonight.
I feel like they took that.
I don't really care. It's not my job to evaluate how they take things. My job is to be honest, and sometimes brutally honest. And tonight, it was a brutally honest message. And the guys that are fully won't hear it. You know, they'll say coach is tripping because they're not going to go back and watch their minutes because nobody watches their minutes. Nobody watches film. So we'll have to show them the film. And I said, if somebody disagrees with me, please speak up. And nobody said a word.
A brutally honest message he left those guys, and it felt a lot different than the tough talks that we as Nuggets fans and Nuggets media members are used to seeing from Michael Malone. Michael Malone is a tough love type of coach, like sometimes to a fault. That is just his MO though. He wants you to earn it. He wants you to show that you can play on this team in multiple areas on the floor and be a productive team member, which is fair. That's very fair for a head coach of a basketball team to do. People's problems with that were that he was unfairly harsh for some young players that probably deserved minutes over the vets that he chose to play in their place. Most recent example being Jalen Pickett and Russell Westbrook at the end of the most recent Timberwolves game. But yeah, that clip was, he said that they didn't watch film. He said in plain words, if I don't tell them watch film, they don't do it. That is not a coach that has a grasp on the locker room. That is not a set of players that looks at that coach and is connected with him. Since the championship year, the connection has just dwindled and dwindled and dwindled to the point where the team is just getting worse and worse and worse and worse as time has gone on. And you know, the problem with that is that Jokic is getting better and better and better and better and better. So the second part of this whole firing, the Calvin Booth part of it, because Jokic has been getting better, you would think that, or any sensible person would think, okay, let's try to maximize the years that we have this guy and really go after these championships. Let's maximize the talent we have on this roster and just really go for it year after year after year, because you don't get 20 years of greatness to this level. You don't get LeBron level longevity at this level. Do I think Jokic could play for 8 more years? Absolutely he could. Absolutely. With his play style, how slow he can slow it down, how paced he can play his game, and the skills that he actually has, for sure. He could play until whenever he wants to. But you don't have the luxury of just sitting on that and waiting for him to just be complacent and be content with what's not going on or what is going on in Denver. You just don't have that luxury to sit around and not do anything and not capitalize on what is a historic talent. You don't get that. You don't get that because not everyone gets this chance. And that's why Calvin Booth was fired. And that I think part of that responsibility in not maximizing Jokic's time is a two-parter, because yes, it's Calvin Booth's problem because, you know, the lack of talent and meaningful talent and fit around him just wasn't what it needed to be, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But then it's also a Malone problem because, dude, we've been talking about your rotations for a while now, and I will admit that this year he has gotten a lot more experimental, maybe because he's probably had to, but the experiments have been there, and we've seen a lot of different lineups, and we've seen a lot of different configurations actually work and be productive and be plus. At the end of the day, though, the team's production, the team's outlook on a postseason run has dwindled because not enough is being done to insulate Jokic with the right amount of talent, which also leads into this next part of where I think this is gonna go. I think this opens the door for some pretty wide scale like player changes as well, because if you think about it, new coach, new management, new systems, new scheme, new style, new thoughts, new relationships, new lack of rapport, like I want to say almost everyone but Jokic is on the board at this moment. Like it, and that's harsh to say, but we just don't know who's going to be in here, who's going to be taking over these reins. We don't know what their methods are, and we don't know how they think about certain players on the Nuggets that have large contracts that haven't been playing up to the number on that contract. Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., I think, have such a high chance to go, like almost guaranteed chance to just not be here next season. And I could be wrong. I'm not saying necessarily that I want them to be traded. I just think that if we're in an era now where new management's probably going to look at Jokic and be like, okay, time to go, capitalize right now. They're probably going to make a move that's going to like maybe scratch ahead, or maybe they're going to make a move that has not been done in Nuggets history, and they're going to go grab a superstar when no one thought they could. It could go either way. My thought process is that I don't think new management is going to want to waste any more of Jokic's time, because now that Jokic doesn't have his coach, it's not like his loyalty is just there anymore. And I'm not sure, you know, I don't want to make grand assumptions about Jokic and Malone's relationship past the point where I think they really did love each other as player, coach, and people. But this definitely does not bode well for like any sort of long-standing future relationship between front office and player, front office and superstar. It's a scary situation because first of all, right now, our playoff run just looks even more dim. It's been looking a little rough because of the competition comparisons and our lack of talent and our lack of good, strong matchups against the teams that we could potentially see in the first, second round, or even in the play-in at this point. It opens the door for so many different possibilities in the right now and in the future and in the immediate future of this summer. What the hell is going to happen with this team? What the hell is going to happen with Jokic? Who is Jokic going to be surrounded with? Is new management going to go into next season with the exact same roster? Is new management going to look at this team and be like, top to bottom, everyone outside of Jokic needs to go? Is that going to happen? I don't know. And that's really scary as a fan, because we are in such a unique position of having a guy like Jokic. He has David Adelman. David Adelman's been there for years. He knows the system. Jokic and the guys, when Malone is not there, Adelman does a really good job of filling in. Is he going to be the long-term head coach? I don't know. Does that change the equation for what I think about this team moving forward? Absolutely it would. But if they go with an outside hire, if David Adelman goes somewhere else for a permanent head coaching job, or just a change of scenery, whatever, What does that look like for the new guy coming in? Like, there's just a lot of questions we don't know yet, and I'm really trying my best to wrap my mind around just a clusterfuck of information that just came out today. And it's really hard, bro. It's really hard. It's really hard. I want to formulate a strong opinion on this. I want to formulate an opinion that's like, okay, I think XYZ is going to happen. But honestly, you know, a lot of it does come down to how this playoff run goes. If everyone magically turns up a couple notches and we end up having a really strong playoff run, then shit might not change that much this summer. In NBA history, in basketball history, in life history, when there is change at the top, especially in such strong positions like head coach and GM, massive change, or at least some significant change in personnel, follows. We'll see what that is. I don't know what it is at the moment, and I'm not wishing for any specific thing to happen. I just want my team to get better. And I think in order for this team to get better substantially with the talent that we have, the lack of assets that we have, the contracts that we have, you have to look at players like Jamal, MPJ, and hell, probably even Aaron Gordon to this point. That's where you start if you want to retool. Those are the contracts you have to look at if you have to retool. And again, I'll say it again, I'm not calling for any of them to get traded. If they make a move to get better substantially on the margins, on the bench, without having to give up any of the top 4 guys, then do it. I'm not mad at that at all. I don't know. My camera just died. I don't want to go too long without the face cam, but it's just a weird predicament. It's a weird predicament. I have the full Twitter space that I started up right after the news came out. I did end up doing that with a couple of other people. A lot of people joined. It was some good convos. That's going to be raw. I'm going to put that up as a video as well on top of this. But yeah, that's it, dog. Y'all let me know what you think about this. I'll catch y'all later.